Oh, look at that red maple leaf. That is so cool. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I'm sitting here in front of the front door of St. Peter's location, St. Peter's Church. I've got my Our Lady of Guadalupe coffee mug. It seems to be a favorite these days. Yeah, it's kind of like the default if I don't have any strong vibes from any of my other coffee mugs. So I'm going to take a little sip. Before I sat down, I noticed this maple leaf lying on the ground, and it's quite red, isn't it? Just like the Canadian flag. There you go. And it reminds me of October 7th, 1982. That's the day I and my family arrived in Canada. I remember coming in to land at Halifax Airport and seeing all the colors, the reds and the golden leaves, and I'd never seen anything like it in my life. So I always think about that. It's a reminder that we are in the season of autumn, and here in Nova Scotia, it's a beautiful season. I mean, as you can tell, the sun is out today. It's a very warm day. And in these autumn days in our diocese, we have a very significant event that is going to be taking place this weekend, and that is the Archdiocesan Eucharistic Congress. Now, we've spoken about this before, and it's an archdiocesan event, kind of like an archdiocesan retreat. We have special speakers coming from the outside. People from all over the diocese are coming in. Some are coming together and being bussed in, and it's going to be a time of prayer and worship and dialogue and discernment, discussion, learning, praying, celebrating. And the good news is that it actually sold out a couple of weeks ago, which is wonderful news, because the diocese was kind of like, if we do this, we're going to work hard to make sure that it gets filled up. And here almost like a month before the event, it sold out. So that's wonderful news. If we'd known that, we could have maybe had a bigger venue, but we'll save that for next time. So that's great news, but there is a couple of ways that you can participate even if you didn't get to sign up. We have exactly 48 people from our parish who will be there at the event. And there is a few of the events that are open. One is the youth event that will take place this Thursday night. I know it's short notice as you watch this video, but if you have a young person in the family, touch base with Dave Riel. You see his email right here, and he can. There's still time to get that young person in your life hooked into what will be a good evening on Thursday evening. The other thing is a Eucharistic procession. Now, this is a very bold thing, perhaps something that we're not very used to doing, but there's going to be a procession on the Saturday night from St. Agnes Parish in Halifax, St. Agnes Church, all the way to St. Mary's Basilica. So, number one, pray for good weather. And that event is open to anyone who would like to take part in it. The other thing is to please pray for that event. Please pray that it will be a unifying and life-giving celebration for our local church. And speaking about the local church, there's something else, one other detail I need to speak to you about that speaks to us of the nature of the local church and the nature of the Eucharist. So, number one, the nature of the local church. For us as Catholics, the local church is not the parish, it's the diocese. The pastor of the local church is not the priest, it's the bishop. The bishop is the pastor of our Church of Halifax Yarmouth, our whole diocese. And even though for most of our parishioners, our only touch point with this church is through the parish, it doesn't change the fact that that's our understanding of church. And so moments like this Eucharistic Congress are great opportunities for us to be reminded of the centrality of that broader identity, that's who we are as a church. As we gather with people from other parishes, from around this part of the province, as we gather around our bishop. And that's what's going to be happening in these days. And in order to facilitate participation as much as possible in that event, because it's difficult to have an event over a weekend when you've got parishes, the Archdiocese and the Archbishop specifically has requested that, not requested, but asked, instructed is a better word, instructed that there be no Saturday afternoon Mass held in any parish in our diocese. So there you go. And you may be saying, what? How can that be? Well, yeah, it can be for a number of reasons. Number one, the bishop can make those decisions. And that, think about it, if we had Saturday Masses, then all the priests would have to leave by noontime, and you wouldn't really be able to have that event on the Saturday. So for that reason, there will be no Saturday Mass. Now, we've already made this announcement, but I want to remind you, no Saturday Mass this coming Saturday. Okay. Now, that's one thing because of the archdiocesan dimension of our local church. And the other thing I want to get to briefly is the nature of a Saturday Mass. You see, you wouldn't cancel a Sunday Mass like that. You probably wouldn't, because Sunday's different. Now, hear me out here. A Saturday afternoon Mass is actually a vigil Mass. It's actually not a Sunday Mass. And it was only instituted in the early 1970s after the Second Vatican Council as a way for people to meet their Sunday obligation, their obligation to participate in the Eucharist, to worship the Lord, if they were unable to attend a Sunday Mass. Some people are unable to attend a Sunday Mass because of travel or because of a work schedule. But ironically, what happened is that, well, 50 years later, there are many Catholics who haven't gone to Sunday Mass in years. In fact, in some places, this is a great irony. I've been in parishes where there are faithful parishioners who go to Mass on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the only day of the week they don't go to church is Sunday. How did that happen? Isn't that kind of weird? I mean, come on, you got to admit that that's a bit odd. It's kind of like it started off with the church celebrating the Eucharist on the Lord's Day, which was the first day of the week, which was Sunday. That was how the church started. We celebrated the Eucharist once a week on Sundays. And now, 2,000 years later, in some instances, we've got the exact reversal of that. So I think events like this, where the Vigil Mass is put on hold once in a while, is a good reminder that the Vigil Mass is a Vigil Mass. And while we may be in the habit of going to the Saturday afternoon Mass, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, I am going to say that perhaps it's a good thing that once in a while we don't go to the Vigil Mass and we go to a Sunday Mass instead. So I thought I'd just take a little opportunity to speak about the priority of the diocesan church over the parish church, and the priority of Sunday Mass over the Vigil Mass. So there you go, just a few thoughts for you, and it would be great if you could participate in the Eucharistic Congress, even if you weren't able to register, by praying for it, by coming out to the youth night on the Thursday night, or coming out to the Eucharistic procession on Saturday night. Check out the Archdiocesan website for more information about the Congress. And, well, happy fall, everyone. Happy Canadian fall. God bless. Take care.